Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome National Catholic Prayer Breakfast Board member and event chairman, Mark Randall.
Good morning. Good morning, good morning. Welcome to the 20th National Catholic Prayer Breakfast. Is this room amazing or what? For 2 decades, thousands of faithful have gathered here in our nation's capital for a singular and profound purpose: to pray for our country, our leaders, and one another. Though we come from different backgrounds, political affiliations, and walks of life, we are united in this sacred mission of prayer. Our dramatic opening, a reading from the book of Philippians, reminds us of the power of prayer. Have no anxiety at all, but in everything by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, make your requests known to God. And my friends, that's why we're here today. Okay, that's great. Thank you. This morning, our hearts join with millions around the world as we pray for our Holy Father, Pope Francis, for his strength, peace, and comfort. And yet, even as we acknowledge our concern, we're uplifted by the theme of this milestone gathering: hope. This theme, deliberately chosen to echo that of the Jubilee year, sets the tone for our time together. Just as millions of pilgrims will pass through the holy doors of Rome's great basilicas, so too have we, 1,400 strong this morning, gathered here this morning in a spirit of faith and renewal. Hope is the anchor that binds us to faith and guides us to love. As Pope Francis has so beautifully written, hope is not something distant or elusive. It is already within us. It is simply ours to strengthen through God's grace and to share with the world. For 20 years, the National Catholic Prayer Breakfast has embodied this mission, bearing witness to hope through our collective prayer. The fruits of this gathering are immeasurable, but allow me to reflect on just a few. It's a reunion of faith. This event has been called the best annual Catholic reunion in Washington, D.C. It's a place of joy where old friendships are rekindled and new ones take root. It's a power of collective prayer where 2 or more are gathered in his name, there he is among them. Together we have lifted prayers for the unborn, the persecuted, our leaders, and all in need, trusting that our prayers bear fruit in ways seen and unseen. Wisdom from voices of the faith. Over the years, we have been blessed by an extraordinary roster of speakers, both lay and clerical, who have challenged, inspired, and strengthened us in our journey of discipleship. A witness to the world. The early Christians were known for their joy, and joy is the natural fruit of hope. St. Paul exhorts us in Romans 12:12 to rejoice in hope, reminding us that God never calls us to happiness without reason for it. And even in difficult times, this breakfast has remained a beacon of hope and joy, a light in the darkness. And so we find ourselves here once more, looking out at a world often fraught with uncertainty, division, and fear. The temptation to despair is great, and yet we are not a people of fear. We are a people of faith. And I have no doubt that as you experience the incredible program we prepared for you this morning, you will not leave with sadness or loneliness, but with renewed strength and conviction. Now, it's no coincidence that this gathering takes place in Washington, D.C. Contrary to what some may believe, our nation's capital was founded upon strong Christian principles that endure to this day. Many of our monuments, museums, and landmarks bear silent testimony to this truth. Consider, for example, the Washington Monument. Perhaps the most iconic structure in this city, it holds a secret known to few. At its very peak, where the first rays of sunlight touch each morning, an inscription is engraved on the aluminum capstone: Laus Dei, praise be to God. It is unseen by those who walk the National Mall. No tourist has ever read it, and yet God sees it every morning. And he is with us now. He hears our prayers, and in his boundless mercy, he blesses this gathering today. Laus Dei, praise be to God. On behalf of the NCPB Board of Directors and our host committee, thank you for rising in the early hours, for standing as witnesses to hope, and for being joyful heroes in this great pilgrimage we share together. Thank you.